Yeah, so the way that works basically is so the soundboard can handle, four inputs, and then the four
At least on
inputs.
paper, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, no. The soundboard's amazing. So the
Hmm.
soundboard's awesome. So you can have four professional microphones. Four professional microphones go into the soundboard. And the soundboard's professional, and then the soundboard goes into the computer, which is professional, and then your computer has a professional.
I feel like we need to be saying professional with air quotes.
I know, professional with air quotes. And then the computer has software,
Hmm.
right, which is professional. And so everything along the line from the computer, the software, the soundboard, the microphone, everything's perfect
Should
up
all know what it's
until
doing because it's
up
professional.
until we hit live streaming.
Hmm.
When we hit live streaming, we have YouTube, and YouTube requires an interface to live stream. And so, what's the most common or what's the most popular um, interface that people use to broadcast with?
Hmm. Is it called the Open Broadcasting System or something along those lines? OBS?
Open broadcast software, yes.
Software,
So,
yeah.
open broadcast software. So, I've learned a lot about OBS over the last
Hmm.
couple of weeks. So, open
I'm
broadcast
picking up things
software,
here and there.
yeah. So, open broadcast software, or OBS, is the number one used software interface system that they use. Now, if you worked for like CBS or ABC or any of those big companies,
Hmm.
they don't mess with that crap.
Any of
They
those
they've
big
got their own
monsters.
proprietary software. They got very expensive software. We're talking about thousand
They
multi.
hired a sound engineer to develop the software for them specifically, and he's got his own trademark signature on it, probably.
Actually, that's exactly right. They
Hmm.
have sound engineers. They have their own proprietary software, and then they have like massive soundboards and stuff that go into their own software, and they do all of this. So there's the ghetto YouTuber that uses OBS, and then there's the ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, whatever, that
Hmm.
uses like full blown sound engineers with like full blown stuff. And then there's us, what we're trying to do.
All the low levels, all you peons down there.
So there's like what we used to do, what we're never going to do, and then what we're trying to do. And what we're
Hmm.
trying to do is do a multi-interface.
Yeah, trying to bridge the gap a little bit in there and try and find that midpoint.
So I've talked to Focusrite, and I've talked to OBS,
Hmm.
and Focusrite says OBS is stupid. In no uncertain
And
terms.
LBS is Focusrite stupid?
No. OBS says, "Hey, we're stupid." OBS.
They admit their wrongdoing. All
Yeah,
right.
well, OBS says, "Listen, we've created a basic platform. We're free,
Okay.
so you're
That's
welcome."
the operative word there.
Guess what?
Oh, wait a
You're
second. Wait a second. So you're
welcome.
getting around to the fact that you're saying that we're hitting not only in our game lives, but on our YouTube lives, a paywall?
Yeah. So this is the deal. They are free, and I appreciate OBS. So
Yeah.
don't get me
Yeah.
wrong.
Can't knock them for
I
freeness.
do appreciate OBS. I
Hmm.
do actually. I've used them now for 3 years, and it's
I'm
been
much better
completely
at
free.
whining than appreciating, so I should try
Yes,
appreciating more.
but they can only do two microphones,
Yeah.
which is what's coming to the. This is the problem we're
Yeah.
having.
Where our problem is coming to a head.
Yeah, we're trying to do multiple. We're trying to do three or more,
Hmm.
and you can't
No.
do three or more. And so that's where we're trying to do like three lapels or two lapels and a microphone.
We're knocking. They're saying no room at the inn, Virgin Mary. Sorry.
And that's where we're getting feedback and the echoing and all that kind of stuff
Hmm.
because they're conflicting. And so OBS can only do two channels. And there's some workarounds. They're ghetto
There
as
always is.
they're
Workaround.
ghetto. They're ghetto AF.
Hmm.
Basically, OBS.
You don't want us to do that. We don't want to do that. It would just be
Oh,
rough.
you definitely don't want us to do that. So
No.
the way it
That
works is
squealing occasionally was bad.
you would go into Skype and you would basically create a voice over internet protocol, and you'd basically send multiple microphones over the internet,
Hmm.
put them in as like a mono. You'd put them in a stereo, combine them into mono, send them back into OBS as a single source, as the first source, because they would see it as a single microphone. And then you would have to build a couple more microphones, send it through another voice over internet protocol, bring it back as mono into another microphone.
Hmm.
So then OBS would see it as another microphone. So then we would have like two microphones into one VoIP coming back as a single microphone, two other microphones going over into VoIP coming back as another microphone, and we'd have 4 microphones or 4 lapels, all because of the restrictions within OBS. So what's the solution? Not use OBS. That's actually the solution, according to OBS and according to
when they actually say that themselves.
Yeah, and according to Claret and everything. So then you can't use multiple instances of OBS.
Right.
So
basically,
2 turntables and a microphone.
How one Nick 7 with my glove in your oil.
Yeah, what's happening to 2 weeks on the trot? I know, right?
Yeah. So basically what we're saying is if the workaround is going to work, it's like getting directions from that weirdo. It's just like, okay, you go down to the stop sign, take a left, then another left, then another left, then another left. When you get back to where you came from, take a right instead. Go down to the real big oak tree at the end of the street. There's going to be a black albino under there named Flicka. Talk to him. He's going to give you directions to the next guy who might know.
So, long story short, I might be looking at a new broadcasting software. This will be a whole new experience.
We're just going to delve into whole new worlds.
Because if I can find some sort of a broadcasting software that works with a YouTube.
Works with mere humans, yeah.
Yeah, well, it works with YouTube, kind of like OBS, but it's probably not probably, it is. It's going to cost money. But like Joe Rogan uses a podcasting software that works with YouTube. And he uses that, and he has multiple microphones and everything like that. And so I think that there's some options out there.
I think I've seen at least a couple different times where there's 3 people on the show, it's him and 2 other guests, and they're able to talk at the same time.
Oh,
so
they have
it's possible.
He has a full-blown sound engineer on his channel. He has a full-blown sound engineer.
Well, when we get the kind of income like he does, the kind of budget to work with, then don't worry, it'll be all great. We'll have a ridiculous set that we can be in. I was
gonna say I don't think I need a huge budget. I just need the right software. And if the software costs some money, I'm willing to drop some of my own
we keep
money
on asking for just enough, and we never get it. So let's just go for the moon this time and see if we settle somewhere in a good sound quality.
I'm like, this is a journey. I'm okay with learning and experiencing the journey. In fact, if I can learn this, other people can learn this. This was how I became a YouTuber. I didn't know how to play the game. I learned how to play the game, and I taught people how to play the game. If this isn't a journey and I can teach other people how to get through this journey, there's a lot of other people. In fact, when I was going through this and I'm like typing online, there are hundreds of people out there going, how the hell do you do this? And I'm not the only one hitting a dead end roadblock going, how do you do this?
So what we're seeing here is a rising need. Now we just got to fill it, and then we can be making profit.
Or we could just teach other people how to do this, or just teach other people how to miss it.
I was hoping ultimate world domination, but fine, let's just go with helping people. That works too.
Yep. All right. So today we are back to play Marvel Strike Force.
Yes, as you can see, I'm very far ahead in the game.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, yeah. No. What's the other dragon one that we're doing?
Dragon Champions.
Dragon Champions. That's what it is. No. This is actually
Disney.
Bejazzled. No,
Bejazzled. Bejazzled?
Bejeweled? No, what's the one?
What's Bedazzled?
What kind of jazzling game we play here?
So is there an active event going on? Is that gas?
An active event going on.
That's gas? Can you get gas?
I've had plenty.
Do you have gas?
I've had plenty of good healthy food recently, lots of Imodium, so I'm gas free right now. I'm sorry to say I cannot produce any.
Oh, well, that's good because I'm sitting next to you and I don't need or want you to
produce it all earlier.
Any of it.
Got it out of the way when we're going to be in close proximity here.
It seems awfully quick to have Cash on Camino come back so soon.
It's actually this will be the 3rd time it's back now. They've already been. I think they're doing this one every 3 months now, something like that. Either way, not the days of Malik, not the days of the Revens. That's for sure. They're really trying to pump this stuff out. It's like do whatever we can to keep the game alive a little longer. So let's see what we have for required units here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we start off with, that's right, ships. Because, you couldn't just have a ridiculous amount of high-end characters you needed for this. You got to have ships in there also.
They do that because a lot of people hate ships, and so they kind of put that as a stopgap for people like you.
Just got to take my hand and just kind of force that right behind my back.
Who don't do ships, because if you don't like ships, they're like, no.
And let's be clear, it's not that I don't like or don't do ships. It's just my particular shard doesn't seem to put a lot of emphasis on them. So
you don't.
Just kind of hanging out there in that mid 100 range and never have to really worry about it because nobody else cares.
By the way, if you're wondering, this is like a 1980s stash.
a nice little
And
close-up there.
the reason why I shaved it
pencil
was
it in a
because we
little
did a 1980s something party
Mhm.
last Saturday for a friend's birthday party, and
Yeah.
then we're doing another 1980s party this next Saturday. And so I
Just
had
don't stop till you get enough.
yeah, so I had two 1980s something parties back to back Saturday, and so I shaved off my beard, a porn stash, yeah. So I shaved.
Pencil stash.
Yep.
Pencil stash.
So I shaved my beard for just left the mustache only. Looks hideous, I know. And then I'm going to keep it like this all week long to intimidate my clients at work. And then I'm after Saturday's party.
Honestly, with the way you had your hair and the mustache, and just for some reason your getup for that particular picture, you reminded me an awful lot of, and I can't remember his name, even though I watched all of Stranger Things, but if you just would have had a mullet and maybe a little soul patch, that would have totally been dude from Stranger Things.
Okay.
Yep. A little bit like that. There's a different picture you had where I think you're playing the keyboard or something like that, where it's just like, for some reason, just slap a mullet on that guy.
So you can go to my Twitter and you can actually stalk me on Twitter. But here's
giving you permission.
Yeah, but here's a picture I think he's talking about.
Yeah, kind of similar there. Just, put a slightly wavy, dirty blonde mullet on him, and I think that he would be, driving a Firebird around, driving a Camaro around in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Somebody help me out here. What's his name? I'm sure somebody out there screaming at me. It's this.
He's from the 80s movie guy I know, guy.
From that 80s show that isn't an 80s show, but a throwback, but
Alex
not a very
says
good one.
the mic's perfect this time around, boys. It's much better for sure. This definitely, we got the amplification right.
That was the key all along. We needed a 4-channel board so we could have one mic work correctly. So all the power from the 4 possibilities goes into 1 to give you 1 good quality.
I know, right? I sound like a 1980s guy who smoked too much. That's so funny.
Should have been smoking them Red Apple cigarettes.
I can't give this up, though. I do have a few cards. I do have a few of the ATI Ask the Internet cards I actually pulled from the Poll the Internet. So it's Poll the Internet. So there'll be some polls on the bottom as to what the Internet said. I picked 6 cards, and I picked 6 cards that have to do with dating because you're single. All the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies,
single?
all the single
it's
ladies.
just such a state of mind anymore. It's not even something that I put a label to. It's just something that's so natural about me now.
Yeah. So,
all the single ladies, run away now, run away now.
That guy with that face,
Mm-hmm.
Billy, I think. Oh yeah, his name was Billy, right?
Billy, yes.
Oh, that's funny. That's actually my freaking name. I literally was called Billy for the first 5 years of my life.
Billy, yeah.
William.
I've never understood that.
Billy, Billiam, Willie, Billy.
When has Bill ever been shorthand for William?
Crazy. So my name is William Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got all of the nicknames. I've got William.
Oh, yeah.
I've got Will. I've got Bill, Billy, William, Joseph, Will, BJ, Billy Joe. I know.
All of them.
BJ. I got them all, man. I got them all. I used to be called Billy when I was a kid, and this is story time. While you guys are doing that, I'll do a silly story time.
Hey, why not?
Kind of a short story time, but it's kind of a weird story, but it's actually kind of funny. I should actually save this story. I feel like this is a good story time story.
Ooh, it's a good nugget? I don't know, man. Maybe we should hold off.
I don't know. I'm going to tell it while you're playing because
right.
I think it's a good story time for everybody who's willing to integrate and actually watch our live streams. For all the 42 people watching right now, this is their reward for watching and actually being true fans. Yeah, true fans. They get an integrated story time. Anyone who really watches, they get the story time because everyone else they get their story time at the end and they know it.
For all those true fans that don't fall in line, that don't like major YouTubers, that don't like people with subscribers over 40,000.
Yeah. So the story time at the end of the hour is going to be a moralistic story time, like it always is. Like there's a moral to the story.
Oh yeah.
This one is just
bring it around.
This one's just funny. So in the 80s, actually, there was a place. You guys know it. It's called Chuck E. Cheese's.
Ah, yes.
But before Chuck E. Cheese's was a place called Billy Bob's. And Billy Bob, are you okay, dog? My dog's like dying over there. But Billy Bob's, I don't know if you guys remember, but Billy Bob's was like a mechanical bear. Do you remember that?
I don't know Billy Bob's.
Yeah, Billy Bob's. He was a pizza place,
I had
and he was before
I had Peter Piper pizza.
No, he was before Chuck E. Cheese. Chuck E. Cheese was a competitor of Billy Bob's, and Billy Bob's was a mechanical bear, and you would go, and there was all these things you could play, but you would sit down to eat your pizza, and it was like a show. It would open up, and there was like a mechanical bear with an entire like band, and they would and they would like dance and like do drums.
So now we know
and
who
sing
Chucky
to you.
ripped it off of.
Yeah, Chuck E. Cheese actually was a ripoff of Billy Bob. And Billy Bob was the originator. And Billy Bob came out in the late 70s.
OG pizza hucker.
And he came out in the late 70s, was in the 80s, and then Chuck E. Cheese came out in the late 80s. And they were a ripoff of Billy Bob's. But Billy Bob was popular. I used to have my birthday parties there. They were like really popular, and I was a kid, right? So I loved Billy Bob's. I loved going to Billy Bob's.
The pizza's terrible. I don't get it.
Showbiz Pizza. That's right. It was called Showbiz Pizza, but that's where Billy Bob's was at.
I've heard of that.
So yes, he's right. He got it. Yay! So
Showbiz Pizza.
Yeah, Showbiz Pizza, but it went out of business because of Chuck E. Cheese, because Chuck E. Cheese, unfortunately, was able to capitalize on a better business model. It cost less. It was chintzier, crappier.
Gotta be careful when you're the original. Sometimes somebody else can come out there and look at it and go, I can do this better.
Yeah. And cheaper, more efficient.
Cheaper.
Yeah, it was more efficient.
Especially cheaper. Yeah, the American way.
Yep. So, but anyway, Billy Bob was the name of the bear that did the dancing and stuff. And what happened was basically I was in elementary school in Lincoln, Nebraska. And there was kids at my school, a couple of them, that were making fun of me. I was like, literally, I was in kindergarten, and I was 5 years old. And there was this kid at school, 5 years old, man. And the kid was like, Billy Bob, Billy Bob, Billy Bob, Billy Bob. And my mom, from the time I was born to literally 5 years old, that's all she ever called me was Billy. So that's all I ever knew I was.
So
I was
your mom's
Billy.
partly to blame for all this.
No, I mean, I was okay with being called Billy. All I ever knew was Billy. I was Billy. I was just Billy, right? Just Billy's cool. I like the name Billy. In fact, my favorite character was Billy Bob. So like it was cool. But this kid at 5 years old was at school making fun of me, calling me Billy Bob. Now, I don't know why that bothered me, but it bothered me. He was like, Billy Bob, Billy Bob,
Sometimes
Billy Bob.
it doesn't even matter what it is. It's just being made fun of.
Just being made fun of, exactly. He targeted me and was making fun of me. Well, for whatever reason, that day, he just got under my skin. He just kept making fun of me nonstop that day. And after being razzed all day nonstop.
Like, Will, you let it
5
go.
years, yeah, 5 years old, I went home, and my mom could see I was razzed up, and she was like, what's wrong? Billy, what's wrong? And I was like,
don't call me Billy.
Well, no, I was just like, I started crying, and she was like, oh no, what's going on, Billy? What's going on? And I said, this kid at school, he's making fun of me. He's calling me Billy Bob, like the bear. And he did it all day, and I don't know what to do. Like, tomorrow I'm going to go to school, and he's just going to make fun of me. This is like the third day in a row that he's picking on me, and he does it all day, and he doesn't stop. And the teachers don't do anything about it. Nobody gets involved.
Do I let it go, or do I burn the school down? I'm somewhere in between.
I know, right? This was before the era of like shooting everybody, right?
Yeah,
this was before the era of like killing people because you're being bullied. So
I'm not responsible in any of my actions whatsoever. So it's everybody else's fault now.
So I'm 5 years old. I'm like crying to my mom because I'm being picked on. I know it's stupid, but it's like this is how you are when you're 5 years old and being picked on. And then so my mom looks at me square in the face and she goes, "Well, that doesn't matter." And I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "It doesn't matter. That's not even." Yeah, she's like, "It's not even your name." And I'm like, "What? What?" And she's like, "It's not even your name." I'm like,
uh-oh, digging it deeper.
Mind blown. I'm like, what do you mean Billy's not my name? She's like, your name is William. Like, you're born William. Like, she literally pulled out my birth certificate. She's like, your name is William Joseph Cox. Like, you're literally not, your name is not, Billy. It's just a nickname. It's just a nickname. It's just William.
You're freaking out about it? You shouldn't be freaking out about it.
Yeah. She's like, you don't worry about it. Like, it's not a big deal. You're okay. And I'm like, are you serious? And she's like, seriously, you're fine.
I don't even know you anymore.
Yeah, I don't even know you anymore. And I was like, oh my gosh, mind blown. Seriously, that's not my name. And she's like, no, it's not even your name. It's just a nickname. And I'm like, so I don't have to go by it. And she's like, no, you don't have to go by it. I'm like, I don't want to go by it anymore. She's like, well,
end of an era.
She's like, yeah, she's like, so to be fair, it's going to be difficult for family and friends to not call you Billy anymore because we've been calling you Billy for 5 years straight.
So ingrained.
And
now.
I'm like, I get it, but I don't want to be called Billy anymore. So you guys are going to have to work hard on that. And she goes,
I get it.
We'll try.
I quit.
Yeah.
But I get it.
She's like, we'll try really, really hard. We'll try really, really hard. And I was like, okay. So well, anyway, day number 2 after that, right after my mind was blown. My name's not Billy. My name is William. And so I go to school, 5 years old, kindergarten, y'all.
Steam still rolling out your ears.
Yep. I go to school, and the kid's like, I'm walking into school, and the kid's like, Billy, Billy, Billy Bob, Billy Bob, Billy Bob, and I just doesn't even faze me. I just like walk right past him. I just totally ignored him, and he's like, huh?
Suddenly you see the smoke start rolling out of his ears.
And he's like, what the heck? So then I sit down, though. I sit down, and I'm in class. I'm just sitting there, and it's roll call. And the teacher's like, Johnson. And he's like, Sarah.
And this is where it gets out of control.
Billy. Billy.
No.
Billy. Billy, you need to go to the principal's office. And I just sit there. She's like, you're going to the principal's office.
That's it.
Now, you're ignoring me. And so she literally drugged me to the principal's office because I was ignoring her.
Oh, wow.
And took me to the principal.
I don't know who this Billy is you speak of.
Yeah, exactly. I just ignored her because that's not my name, right? That's not my name. So we go to the principal's office, and they sit me down, and the principal knew me. I was a good kid. I was a really good kid. And he goes,
you're just frying all kinds of noggins that day.
She's like, literally, he's ignoring me. And he goes, okay, so leave. So he shuts the door, and he goes, I don't know what's going on with her. What's going on, Billy? And I'm just sitting there. He's like, it's just you and I. It's just you and I. What's going on, Billy?
Billy.
And I'm just like, and he's like, come on, it's just you and I. And I'm just, he's like, all right, fine. You're going to play this hardball crap. You're going to play like this with me. You're going to be a jerk to me too. And I'm trying to be your friend. That's it. Fine. I'm calling your parent. I'm calling your mom. You're in trouble. And so he calls my mom. My mom comes down from work. She's literally working, right? She comes down. She comes into the principal's office. I'm 5 years old in kindergarten, right? I'm a good kid. Walks into the principal's.
You were a good kid.
Walks into the principal's office. She walks up. They have this conversation outside the office. She walks in and she goes, what's going on, Billy? And I'm just like, and he goes, see what I mean? See, look what's happening. What's going on? And she goes,
I'm not the only one.
And she goes, She goes, William. I go, yes, Mom.
Oh.
She goes, okay, hold on 1 second. She goes outside. They shut the door. I can see them having a talk. And then she comes back in with him, and he goes, William, can we talk? I go, yes, sir. What can we talk about? And immediately,
suddenly a good kid again.
Immediately, they like realize, have this like epiphany, what's going on and stuff. And so he instantly realizes like he has to change.
Like, I see.
And they have to start calling me, William and everything. And from that moment on, I'm stubborn.
Yeah.
From that moment on, I was known as William, and everyone had to call me that. And literally, they kept me in school that day. The kids out in the playground, I would ignore them. If they called me Billy, I'd ignore them, and they learned very quickly that I didn't respond.
I guess you understood early on this is gonna be a hard fought battle, and you got to just start right now, strike while the iron's hot.
But it was just a nickname. But I thought that was my actual name, and because my mom called me that from the time I was born to the time I was 5, and then I was being made fun of, and like when I went home and I was like, Mom, she was like, that's not even your name. I'm like, what?
It's so crazy how that ingrains, because for the longest time I was always Jacob. For the love for anything, it was always Jacob. When somebody started calling me Jake out of nowhere, I had no concept of like nicknames or shorthanding for somebody's name. For some reason, it just had never once come up. Like if my mom got after me, it was always, you got all three names. You're really in trouble. But it'd never be Jake. It'd never be. It's just never a concept in my family until people started calling me Jake all the time. Now these days, I can introduce myself as Jacob all I want, but I end up getting called Jake. So I've just learned to deal with both of them. So
I've never known you as Jake.
Yeah. Because I always introduce myself as Jacob, and some people will kind of take that as he wants to be called Jacob and be really, stern about it. Other people are just like, oh, Jake, buddy, whatever, it's a friendly thing. And I'm kind of just like,
nope.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, there was a short period when I was younger where I was just like, I got annoyed by it, but now I'm just kind of like, it's not even worth the conversation anymore.
Grande Virga. Oh, Billy.
Oh,
Billy.
Billy.
Billy. Billy.
Oh, wait.
Oh, Billy. That's such a funny scene. That's a funny movie. Yeah, so that was how I transitioned.
That's how you transitioned?
That was my
normal, healthy way for a child to
transition. That was my name transition story. That's actually a funny story.
Funny story without all the health side effects. It's great.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's funny. in life, man.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Just goes to show you how something can just be stuck there for a long time as a status quo until suddenly it gets upset one day, and then all of a sudden it's just like, as a young kid, you mean what?
Yeah, and then of course, Showbiz Pizza went out of business because of Chuck E. Cheese, and then
Right.
it became a non-issue.
Mm.
But as an adult, I legit don't. I'm not a fan of Billy, and this is why, because I'm OCD in nature, and I don't understand nicknames that don't make sense with the name.
Right.
For example, William. That's my name, right? I go by Warrior, obviously, as an acronym, as like a
Persona.
a persona for YouTube, but William, but Will, right? I go by Will for people that know me, right? So Will, why does that work? Well, because William, short, is Will. That's a monosyllabic name. Monosyllabic names, people that know you use monosyllabic names because they're shorter. So we're on a monosyllabic basis. So like, Jacob, Jake, like, oh, Jake, what's up, Jake? It's like, it's a monosyllabic basis. William, it's longer. So when they know you, it's like, oh, Will, like, what's up, Will? What's up, Will? What's up, Will? It's like, it's shorter.
It's more personalized.
It's more personalized, right? So monosyllabic basis because we're friends, we're friendly. It happens at work. It happens with your friends. It happens when you get to know people. So that's, if you lose, they're going to be like, "Oh, you're a terrible human being. I watched you on the live stream.
This is
damn."
the first node of the Geonosis territory battle, and every time I've ever done this before, I can put it on auto with Bosk. So if they've changed something, we're going to find out right now. Just got to sit there and hold out.
Hold.
Well, and of course, this is key to have Grand Admiral Thrawn with his capital ship here. Otherwise, it doesn't really work because you got to have the insta kill with him. Otherwise, Boss will sit there and shoot all day long, and he doesn't have enough for any of these guys. He just basically sits here and takes it all day while everybody else usually dies off around him. So we can see how that's going to pan out. Usually, just cruises right
There's
through.
a lot of those buzz droids, whatever you call them, buzz droids.
Oh yeah, without Boss, this is. I mean, I haven't tried it another way, but as far as I know, it's impassable without him. As with most things are in the new territory battles, it's just
he's the catch-all ship. I wish they would have balanced ships a little better. All the new ship fleet metas, they're like, oh, use this ship, but then they're always like, oh, and Houndstooth.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like you're gonna lose, my friend.
Oh, and by the way, Houndstooth. You should do a little more Houndstooth. If they gave us 4 Houndstooth, we would have enough for it.
Dude, this doesn't look good.
It's that right there. You got to keep on waiting for his special to come around, and eventually he gets them all. But then the taunting bounces across every ship that doesn't even have a taunt ability, but somehow randomly they get to taunt. So
because they can pass the taunt, because of Plo Koon gets to pass a taunt, and there's other ships that pass a taunt.
But no, most of the time he just sits here and takes it while I just kind of auto it out until I eventually get back around to the capital ship's ultimate, and then bang, bow, zoom, right to the moon. Although I have had it before where my 2 secondary ships actually held on long enough to be here with him, but this particular time they decided that, nope, we're going to at least get those 2.
This is painful. This is really painful to watch.
Slow and mind-numbing and painful.
Oh, on the hill.
Yeah, I especially love that. They're all impervious right now. Doesn't matter who I shoot enough. We gotta wait for that to drop off before they. That's what they call that.
Yeah, well, if you have the ultimate, your ultimate's not going to kill anything.
Unending loyalty.
Your ultimate's not going to kill anything. If he works right now, oh no, you're going to have to target something that. Oh, you're about to use it. Oh.
Who gets it? Well, I say most of the time I'm taunting with somebody else.
I was going to say you got to target somebody that.
But most of the time they make that decision for you. So I'll say that I can intervene sometimes, but most of the time it is just sitting here waiting for this all to happen.
Man, that's rough. Warrior's having game flashbacks. Yes, I am. He won't lose Warrior.
To the war.
I'm having flashbacks.
See, just out of the kindness of his heart, that ship just decided I'm just going to go ahead and fly off and die.
Yeah, so to finish that conversation, Billy doesn't make sense to me because you're adding a B to William. That doesn't make sense. B to W, you're adding a B, and you're adding a Y. That doesn't make sense. Just like Robert, Bob,
Richard, and Dick. Right. Never understood that
Never understood that one either. Like, come on now.
We're all smarter than that. We all know better. We're not a bunch of kids here anymore. We don't walk around calling people dick.
I just don't understand some of those. So like sometimes I just don't get, those.
Mm-hmm. I never got them either, and that never made sense to me. What do they call it? Gender neutral names never made any sense to me. Chris, in my mind, was always a boy's name. I knew.
I know more
always,
females named Chris than males.
well, these days now, especially, Aaron was always one. I mean, you can go from Erin to Aaron and whatever else in between. Aaron.
Aaron.
Aaron has always been a man's name in my mind. Just always been. Casey has always been a female name. I've met a couple of guys named Casey, and that blew my mind. And I'm like, what do you got a girl's name for?
Yeah.
I know a guy named Jody. Are you freaking kidding me? So yeah, some things in this world just don't make sense.
Alex says, "When's my coming back to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video?" When they fix their attitude,
when they fix the game, or living vicariously doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, and then you can just call me War. You could call me War. That's fine.
And then you have situations like this, which just absolutely get on your nerves to no end. Because right now I can't kill anybody,
don't use
and
it.
I have the ultimate, and I can't use it. But still, it's just frustrating as all get out.
Just use your basic.
Actually chew away at somebody littler for a while there. Oh, look at that. He didn't get a chance to go.
Bam.
Amazing. See that? I clicked the button. Nothing happened. No shot fired. Amazing. Amazing raisins. I tell you, the convenience factor of him being able to have that ability right when he needs it every time is just uncanny. It's crazy. Right. Yeah, I'm looking. I can't.
The other one.
Is he? Oh, yeah. He is uncloaked, unshielded, unhidden. Whatever you want to call it. But yeah. You see what I'm saying here? You just got to whittle away at him slowly.
I guess. Your ship really is invincible.
It's just sitting here taking it. Like, look at me. What?
Yeah, get rid of... Oh, he's taunting.
That steroided goon that walks around all the time, annoying. Puffed up.
So that's the other part of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, I guess, that is like frustrating me.
Forces you into the monotony.
That I kind of... Yeah, is like, even if you can... There's some of the stuff is playable. Some of it's playable, but not fun to play. Like, no. Do you know what I mean?
It's forced on you. It's just like, oh, great, another checklist item I have to get through on the day. It's another requirement. And they've gotten to the point now, too, where it's like you used to be able to kind of bounce in and out of this game freely as you wanted to.
Yeah.
Now it's not a requirement so much as you don't lose anything, but you don't gain very vital things or ships or equipment. Like, I didn't even do the new General Hux capital ships mission on my SureShot account.
You didn't get his final
completely just slept through it again, so yeah, I have nothing to do with that.
Would you sleep for 3 days straight?
No, I just did that normal weird thing like having a life for 3 days straight. It's crazy, I know. Like not thinking about and obsessing over a game for that long is just for like 24 whole hours.
Alex, for real? You know someone that was called Billy until they were 5 and they changed their name to William for real? Or are you talking about me and being facetious?
You pseudo know a guy who had...
Because you know me, or are you talking about somebody else?
Or like the Asian fallback is always, oh, you know him. I don't know this guy. Oh, you know him. I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah, kapow.
Eventually, it comes back through around. There we go. All right. Now I can breach you, even though it doesn't matter. All right. Oh, look, he's suddenly not invincible for 2 seconds, right? Till I get him down to that last sliver, then all of a sudden, bamf, there you go. You're invincible again.
Bamf.
They love their bamf.
See if your basic can kill him.
Throw that magic pixie dust. I don't know that I won't be able to taunt. Basic on basic.
Yeah, just keep chewing him down. Keep chewing him down. There you go.
We'll see.
Basic, come on.
We'll see if it proves me right.
Kill him with your basic.
Right. Wait for it. It's gonna pop up there any second now.
Basic, keep chewing down the basic. I can still, Oh no! You should have.
Should have breached him. You're saying basic.
Why not?
Basic.
Well, it's just a little more damage. That's all. Oh, there you go.
Oh, look, he's actually not impervious right now. So see.
Kaplowy. Dang, that took for evs.
4 evs.
Ever.
But hey, man, Bosk is key in that one.
That is so long. Oh, I got some cards to read.
So ridiculous.
While we're doing this, by the way, these are all dating cards. I wanted to do some dating cards with you because you're single.
Gaylord is a name you hear a lot in France.
Yeah, apparently.
Well, I'm not going to say anything about the French.
So, question is 28? So 28-year-old.
Okay.
Too old to date an 18-year-old, 10 years apart.
Yes.
Oh my gosh!
Here's my reason behind that. When it comes to certain situations and age demographics, 10 years is not that big a deal anymore. Whereas back in the day, it was it's a different world now. But here's my reason why 18 to 28 is a terrible idea.
Yeah, okay.
Most adolescents and people in their mid-20s and up until their late 30s don't realize how much changes from 18 to 20, 20 to 21 in that 3 to 4 year age gap right there.
Yep.
You are becoming an actual adult. When you're an 18, you're legally an adult, but this day and age, in my eyes and in the eyes of any other common sense individual out there, unless you show some propensity for maturity, you are not an adult. You don't have the cognitive capacity to figure out and think of a lot of things that are coming at you at this point in your life. It's things that you're figuring out and working on in yourself. So if you're 28, you're already past a lot of that crap. You're already getting into a better second season of your life. You've gotten rid of a lot of that immaturity. You've made a lot of mistakes. You've already had a lot of aha moments and a lot of, well, I shouldn't have done that. I'll do that differently now. So if you were to try and be at a 28-year-old and go backwards far enough to 18 to think that you're going to find a suitable mate and somebody who is even remotely on the same level as you intellectually, you're going to have a hard time finding somebody. Not to say they don't exist. There are plenty of those anomalies out there, but we're talking, the 0.01% of the population. So as far as I'm concerned, that's a bad time to go with that kind of an age gap. If you're a 28-year-old going for 38-year-olds, yeah, fine, whatever.
Yeah, I think I would say the same thing. I think from like 25 years old-ish on, age really doesn't matter because you've gotten through that mental maturity that you need, and you've probably gotten through.
You've had a few life slaps upside the head.
You've gotten through, college, or you've gotten through your first few jobs. You've gotten through, some of those like lives slap you upside your head.
Big mental crises.
Yeah, mental crises. Mental growth. There's a lot of things that in your brain. They say that the mental development fully matures in most people's brains at 24, 25 for men. Full mental development occurs around 24, 25 in men. So I think there's a lot to be said about kind of getting through all of that. And then of course, just like your credit, your housing situation, your job situation, your financial situation, your mental maturity, your emotional maturity. There's so much to that. So by the time you're like 25, 26, 27-ish on, at that point, who cares? Who cares?
You're pretty much settling into who you are and starting to kind of hone it.
Age is just a number. And at that point, if somebody who's 10 years older than you wants to date you, who cares? So what? Age is just a number in that sense. But under that, it's amplified. Age is amplified drastically. And it's significantly different. A couple of years is equivalent to like 10 years mentally. So I would agree that I think an 18-year-old and a 28-year-old, it's a totally different world. And I would also argue that 10 years difference is there's a huge generational gap mentally, and it makes it difficult for any relationship. So my wife and I do marriage counseling. We also do marriage. We do like marriage, like when people are going to get married, we do like marriage courses, and we like teach people on like tools on things they should know before they get married. And even if someone's 30 and someone's 40 and they're getting married, and it's like, God bless you, have fun. It's still difficult because the 40-year-old's life, how they perceive life, how they look through the lens of life is so different than that 30-year-old. Even when
they've already gotten through what you're currently going through right now.
Even if it's a totally like voluntary thing and they're like totally mature, and like the 30-year-old is totally mature and like in a good place, and the 40-year-old is totally mature and in a good place, it's still exceptionally more difficult than two 40-year-olds. And the reason is because like life looks so much different to a 30-year-old versus a 40-year-old because of how they went through and where they went through life, what they went through, because what you go through in life paints your entire perspective of life. And the generational gap is real. It really is real. And it will really real. Yeah, and it will create some hardships that I see literally all the time. We get couples all the time where we talk, and they have these hardships, and it's literally a generational gap. And they're like 10 or 12 or 14 years apart, and it's a generational gap, and they like perceive things differently.
You guys think you're having normal problems here, but what I can sit down and tell you is your generational gap is where it's coming from. You both have two different ideas about the same thing.
Exactly, and it's not a bad thing. They just have to creatively come up with ways of looking at things from a different lens. and that lens is a generational lens. They have to look at it from a different generational lens, and they can do it. They really can, but it's just it does create a unique challenge, and that challenge is something that doesn't exist. That specific challenge.
Yeah, your perception of the situation
Now,
has to be challenged.
all marriages have challenges, but that's just a unique challenge other relationships don't actually have. Like 2 18-year-olds that date don't have a generational challenge.
No.
They have other challenges, but they don't have a generational challenge.
They both might have different upbringings, and one might be more mature than the other, but they're both right on that same generational page.
Because every relationship has lots of different challenges, but there's different topical challenges. One of the topical challenges people face is a generational challenge, and you could introduce that into your relationship by dating generationally. So anyway, I would say 18-28 is definitely interesting. People that are doing
not to mention just the awkwardness of, hey, let's go out for a drink sometime. Oh, wait, that's right.
Yeah. You could have a beer, they couldn't.
Yeah.
So.
Well, as long as we're out of there before 9, we should be okay when they start carding people.
Now, this was Poll the Internet, so what do you think the Internet said?
Oh, the Internet these days, I think it's perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with it. At least I think the majority.
Yep. So 77% said that's too big of a gap.
So 77. Oh, it says too big of a gap.
Yeah, it's too big of a gap.
Oh, well, we agree on something then.
Yeah, the Internet says that's way too much of a gap.
I think in general a 10-year gap is not a problem when you're all full-blown adults.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are not a full-blown adult till they're 28, until they're 30. You know.
Yep.
This day and age, I'm sorry, a lot of them out there running around. They may be 20, 21, 22. I've met a lot of kids who's just like, my God, if you ever sign up for the military, I wouldn't trust you to have an AR-15 in your hands. Just no.
Tommy says, just look how Padme and Anakin's relationship turned
Exactly.
Exactly sticks.
We're on the same page here.
Oh, you're gonna do Geos.
Yay! I don't know if I'm going to. This is
Don't hit auto. That's all I can ask.
No. I'm not going to do the auto. That was just for that particular one. This is the Acklay mission, isn't it?
So the secret to Acklay, if you're going to do that, is ability block. For the love of God, ability block.
Yeah, just spread it around as much as you possibly
ability
can.
Block the AoE. Anyone that does AoE, you have to ability block them because otherwise they AoE you.
Wait a second, I think I might be wrong here. I don't think this is the.
That's the Acklay. Yes, that is.
Oh,
that's
okay.
the Acklay.
Well, then here's the question: am I even remotely ready for it?
No. You can still do it.
I kind of thought not. I thought everything in this territory battle had to be required a 7-star character, though, and my Geonosian Brood Alpha is only sitting at 6 at the moment, so that's surprising.
It's a power thing. It's not a star thing. It's a power thing, and he's got the Zetas, so he's powered up.
No wonder.
Yeah, no.
And it's going to be a while before I can get him to
You're missing this right here. You need that. Yep. The stun guns.
Oh, the Mark
huge.
6 stun guns.
Yeah.
Yes. The ones that are so joyous to build.
The stun guns, those are important.
Yes, very important.
Yep.
So instead, I already did this one, didn't I? Yeah, I already ran that for the day. It's worthless to do one, so
it's not worthless. Do it.
No. I mean, it's worthless to put to do it another attempt because you only had one attempt.
Do it.
To do it. I mean, they get deployed anyways, right?
Do it for me. Do it. Dang it!
Feel the hate burning inside you.
Oh, so in the movie Palpatine, his spirit was Palpatine, the real Palpatine.
Oh, but
the body was a physical clone, which I knew that. But everybody was like,
"How did he survive?"
It was a clone. Of course, it was a cloned body. Mm-hmm. We knew that.
All right.
Okay, you got to do his dispel first, which is the far right, because you want to have him
dispel him.
Yeah, you have to dispel him because you got to get frenzy off. Exactly. And then
because he's just insane.
Yep.
He is a horrible person until he gets a Snicker bar.
So all of these guys that do AoE, so he does AoE, he does AoE, and he does AoE.
Yeah.
So, but he's taunting, so you're gonna have to hit him.
I think Sentinel's a she.
And you want to do this because it dispels the daze.
Right. There'll be a little little protection.
And there, he's got ability block. Now go over to him, and you want to throw that and ability block him.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go. Oh, he's dead. That's fine.
Even better.
You want to try and keep them alive, though, because if they're alive, you go ahead and go for the other Jedi to the left.
Counselor.
Yeah, and you can do that one. That's fine. Because you want to keep him alive because they do damage to him. Mm. So they're gonna. If you have any hope, keep his shoot. You want to get to the guy on the far left, but you can't. So go ahead and go after the.
Well, Sentinel's always.
You keep him alive.
Oh. Well, that was a basic anyways. Anything
that's
else?
All right. Do a basic on him. That's fine. You really want to go after the guy on the far left as soon as he's done AoEing you there. Now go after him.
Ooh. Bam!
Yeah. Except for you wanted to save that for the Ackley.
Nah.
Yep.
So do I want to keep on going for Vanguard or?
Jedi Vanguard needs ability blocked, or he's going to AoE you, and you're already in bad shape. So now he's ability blocked. Now go after him.
With everything I got,
no,
I
basic.
don't want to dispel. Yeah, because there's nothing there to dispel. Of course, it does throw.
Basic. You want to cleanse as soon as you can, which you'll get that here in just a second. There, his special. Do the middle guy. Yep. You got to cleanse that off.
Get that yucky off.
Ow.
Well, I can call him back if he decides to die, but other than that...
No, basic. Wow. Man, you don't do really much damage, do you?
I think
you can do his special.
my Brood Alpha is kind of the linchpin
so he misses
there,
last time because you got blind on him, basic. This is going to not probably turn out well for you.
You're already lasting longer than I thought they would, so... Anything like that's a nice little, yay, all right. I know they're not up to par, but if they still lay a hurting, then cool.
Yep.
Come on, you guys, wait up.
Oof.
I want to kill you all. Oh, here it goes. Here's things where you get things ugly. Ah! And, ah! I love their mass attacks.
Yep, that. That special is what you always want to hit him with. And as soon as you can him, you want to do, because he's, that one over there. Oh, he's taunting. You'll kill him.
Call everybody
that one's,
in.
Yep.
Bring back my...
There, now go after him, because you want to ability block the AoEs. There you go. You ability block him, and you'll dispel him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we can go back to you. Don't you think about stealthing. Oh. Bang, he's one-shot now. Oh, he's got Frenzy up. That's why.
And you don't want to hit him, because if you hit him, he gets turned
right.
Yeah.
So then just
you got to hit everybody else.
That's not going to help to taunt right now with him,
No,
is it?
no, just hit basic. And you did not get ability block, so go back to your AoE guy over there to the right and do basic. Hopefully you get ability block. Nope. Oof.
No ability blocks left.
You gotta dispel him. You got the ability block.
Back?
Now go back to the far left. Oh, no. Do the Ackley. Dispel the Ackley.
Doesn't matter if I actually select him,
No, don't. Just go to the far left guy, but do that. Do his dispel. There you go.
So it takes it out of him regardless, but it actually attacks
Now go back to the guy on the far right and just ability block him. Now go back to the Ackley. You've got them both ability block. Now go for the Ackley.
Yeah, double click on it, otherwise he doesn't target.
Double click.
Hold on for one more day.
Yep.
Die! Come on!
Now you want to ability block the guy to the right. Do that one. Yep. Yes.
Yeah, call back cleanses. My brute.
Yep. Now go back to the Ackley. You got 2 ability blocks on. You want to keep those guys. You actually have to click his head if you want to select him.
And you weren't clicking the right area of his Ackley body.
Basically, you want to keep everyone alive but ability blocked, and then you want to keep going after the Ackley. When he gets...
Just keep on basing.
And then when he gets enraged, don't hit him, hit other people.
Right. And keep on going for Sentinel over there in the corner.
If you have to, yeah. And don't taunt. Let them spread around. Oh, no, special. And clear off that daze. Otherwise, you won't get the balancing properties on him. And you need him to balance.
No expose.
See? There you go.
You turd.
Yeah, do the second one, because then you'll hit the guy who's in stealth.
Yeah.
Spread and then clear the stealth by doing the clearing of stealth.
Clear stealth. I thought I just brought up.
No, it clears stealth. Now you can hit the guy to the far left.
Oh, nice.
Which you need to. Oh, no, hold on. Do basic, yeah, because you want to be able to have that special ability. You can do his.
Now keep on going for Ackley. It's not ability block, but.
No, but he's going to go into enrage in a minute.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So basic.
Keep the balance. Keep the balance.
Okay. You bring everyone back. He's enraged. So hold on.
Ackley, you're a dick.
Go basic.
Oh, that's right. Dispel. And
that guy's gone. That's okay. Oh!
That was painful.
Go to the far left, yeah. Dang it. It was so close, dude.
Everything was actually holding up pretty well till all that kind of third
ability.
2 left. How does he keep on getting his cooldowns increased? Bunch of turds. Ugh.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you tried. Good job, dude.
Just out of spite. Yay.
You tried, dude. You were doing pretty good, man. You were doing pretty good.
Yeah. See, it's once it gets to the point where they're all so overpowered, they start one-shotting you, then it's just like, oh, well, you know.
All right.
Interesting how their power can increase, but mine can't, you know. Why can't I sit there and, throw basics until I'm suddenly all-powerful and start one-shotting them, huh?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean,
Yeah.
at Relic Tier 13, it's easy. At Tier 12, you really need to have that little extra
Right.
health you get from the Gear 12 Plus.
Oh, no.
The Gear
Again,
12
I
Plus.
get it. I quit, but I get it.
Okay, so poll the internet on Answer the
Moving
Internet.
on.
This is a superficial question, so I apologize in advance, but sometimes these questions are superficial. So would you rather spend, because again, all these questions are like dating questions, so because you're single. So would you rather spend a year dating a girl with A or B? A 10 body and a 5 face,
Okay.
or a 5 body and a 10 face? A 10
I love
body
these. I
and a
love
5
these
face,
cornering questions because no
or a
matter
5
how you
body and a
answer
10
them,
face.
you're a superficial jerk.
Yep, that's true. This is a terrible question.
So I guess if I have no other option here, I'll play into the superficial jerk,
Yeah.
and then I will say a body that's a 10 and a face that's a 5. Even though
judges you
exactly. So
regardless,
regardless, because 10. I mean, I guess I don't know one way or the other. I'm actually usually more attracted to the face, but I guess if I have to pick from the two of those, because you corner me into a damn if I do, damn if I don't situation, then
that's a terrible question. Honestly, let's keep going. That one's
I mean,
bad.
not so much terrible as it's kind of like, okay, if we can all get on the same page here, if we're a bunch of drunken frat boys having a good time sitting around a bar stool, whatever, asking these kind of jokes. It's
Face is a bit fuzzy.
Little bit of a pass on that, but since I'm here and sober and clear-minded, I don't like that question.
Okay, so you finally do get a girlfriend.
Okay.
So your girlfriend just keeps nagging you to get healthy and go to the gym with her. Okay. So you finally get a girlfriend. She's nagging. Go to the gym. Would you go to the gym with her, lose some weight, or would you break up with her?
Go to the gym. I want that kind of positive reinforcement in my life, and if she's willing to actually, be nagging about it, that's the kind of nagging that I can take because it's for a good purpose. It's for the betterment and health of both of us and the relationship, and it's something else we get to do together as a couple. So I see that as all around as a win-win because as much as I used to love going to the gym, I need some other motivation to help get me back in there now because I don't got it on my own anymore.
Yeah, okay. So you see that nagging as actually a positive thing. So you would just hopefully hope that
I see the right kind of positive reinforcement nagging as good nagging. There's other nagging that's just kind of like, okay, darn good and well I'm gonna get around to certain things, but if you don't allow for life to come in and have things upset our responsibilities and our priorities once in a while, then that's just not a very good open-minded person to be around on a regular basis. So
yeah. I could see the nagging getting old if it wasn't packaged in a non-nagging way.
Right. And obviously, if I was paying attention enough to her and tuned to her thoughts and feelings enough, I would know when it was I'm bored or I'm hungry or I just am mad at something else. I'm going to take it out on you and I can let that slide. And the other times where it's nagging that's pinpointed, we can sit down and have a conversation about it. So
85% of the internet said that they would agree with you. They would lose some weight.
Yeah. Of course, most people would agree with that outside of a relationship till they're in the relationship with somebody that is getting on their nerves and they happen to ask that at the wrong moment. Then, whoa, fly off the handle. I said I'm over.
I know, right? I feel like Warrior is nagging SureShot to answer those questions.
Don't worry.
What battle are you doing?
If in a good, healthy relationship here, I can see his prodding as a positive reinforcement kind of thing, so I'm not getting mad at him when he nags me about being single.
Oh, what a nice guy.
So an even bigger question here is...
Man, Django's excited to fight someone.
He is. Do I go with an under-geared, not so much under-geared, but under-geared compared to the rest, Dengar? Yeah. Or do I go with a higher-geared, but definitely very squishy IG-88?
Dengar goes stealth.
I usually default to that, but because I always feel like Dengar is a better character, better tune than IG-88 by far.
There you go.
Unless we're talking about IG-11, it's a different story altogether. Stand down!
Alexander says, I tuned in at a strange time. Yes. Why, yes, you did. Dengar, easy.
Welcome to Hookups with Warrior.
Burn. Burn, baby, burn. Burn, baby, burn. Burn.
Disco Inferno.
Burn, baby.
Burn, Vanguard, burn. Oh, wait, I can't go to percent now, so fine.
You can go for the other guy. You can target whoever you want.
I know I can go whoever I want, but really, is Guardian that much of something to worry about?
Or the other guy who's taunting that was already damaged.
Oh, that's true.
You could focus down on.
That's true. I'll give you that. I won't give you anything else, but I'll give you that.
Focus on one of the taunters.
Yeah. Well, especially somebody who's a little bit lower, you could whittle away at him easier.
Roar.
That's true. It does benefit all kinds of other things. I can't go.
No,
for
he's lower now.
So, let's see if I can buy proximity. Nope. Sometimes it helps you out there, but I'm not going to get the payout anytime soon.
No,
so.
shoot and stun.
I wanted to save that for Sentinel. Ability block, which lands on all of 2 people.
Yeah, they're going to be taunting for a while.
A while.
A while.
And that's just the thing. When I'm running this account in Geonosis Territory Battle, it's like if I can get through phase 1 or 2, then I'm feeling pretty good with most of my roster. And if I can get through phase 1 or 2 with like 3 different teams, wow, I did a good job.
Oh, Dexatronic says he loves your enthusiasm for the game. It didn't used to be like that. It must have been the bundle everybody at Christmas time helped you buy. It definitely helped. Huh?
There's 2 main things that have kept me playing this game. One that I can't talk about. No, one was because of him. The other one was because of you guys in the Hyperdrive bundle. Because yes, I was literally days away from going, all right, I'm officially done with this game, and then that gave me a nice little boost.
I helped keep him in the game, you guys. Everybody calls me a negative Nancy, but I'm not a negative Nancy, huh?
Nope.
I'm not a negative Nancy. I chose to quit, but I didn't get him to quit. I could have been like, hey, man, I'm quitting. You should quit.
And I would have encouraged you to quit. I would have encouraged you to stay on for a lot longer.
Dude,
had you not had plenty of legitimate reasons, especially in your situation, to quit the game for all the right reasons. If it was something else that was just like, this is stupid, I'm not good at it, then I'd be like, dude, play longer, you'll get better, just shut up.
Right.
You saying that's like, oh, no, I get it completely.
Well, you got to hear all the reasons well laid out. Oh, bomb him.
I got to be here for all that.
90,000. Oh, that's painful. Stun him.
Ooh, owie, ow, ow.
Oh, you could have stunned him. That would have been cool. That's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. Look at that.
I'm always about saving my...
Not a negative Nancy, a negative Nelly, a negative Nancy. Numb
are you assuming his pissed off and ignorant gender?
No, my wife says negative Nancy all the time. She's like, stop being a negative Nancy. She calls me Nancy. I think it's ruder.
I'm not, and don't call me Nancy.
I know. I think it's ruder. I think that's why she says that.
Yeah, probably.
She's like, stop being such a Nancy.
So this is going to work for you? Nah, it's probably not going to kill you.
You're being so rude.
Oh, it did. All right.
Righteous! Righteous!
See, other than just deploying, I actually get points from my team. I feel good about this, and I can actually move about my day. Now, we're early on here. Nothing's been laid yet. No debuffs or whatever. I feel like shooting a rocket right now is a waste because it needs to be built up before it can be powerful enough. Okay, good.
Basic.
My logic and reasoning behind that is still sound.
Now.
I love how he's got debuffs, but they never land on anybody.
That rocket guy is worthless, but he doesn't die. That's the one thing that's cool about him. He's just there to just constantly do true damage of like 10 grand.
That's why I saved my stun. He's the only guy.
Righteous!
We got 2 guys that can Num
351 says, but I'm happy that you're still playing the game. I'm actually not playing the game. See? No hands. Look, Ma, no hands. I'm not actually playing. This is
get a load of this roster we have up here. This is not a warrior roster.
This is his account. Okay, pull the internet. Another question.
Yes.
Would you rather date a girl who loves sports or hates sports? That's kind of a stupid question.
Yeah, but it's a good one for me because I'm so in between. I enjoy sports. I like watching them. But I don't make a point to watch every game.
She would be sold out for sports,
I am a fan of the Cubs, but it's not like I have to watch every game when they're playing. I don't even know what's going on in spring training right now. It's the last thing on my mind. But I wouldn't want somebody who hates sports. I wouldn't want somebody who loves them so much that it's like, oh, I can't get a word in edgewise without talking about Tom freaking Brady or something like that, you know? So I'm somewhere right in between. I don't want her to love or hate them, but I guess if I had to choose between the two of them,
Because if she hated sports, she would tolerate it, but she'd be like, shut up about him. And if she loved him, she wouldn't shut up about him, and she'd always be correcting you, like, no,
Right.
that's not his stat.
That's a
his
good
stat
point.
is like 62.
Mhm.
His RBI was .70, 720.
He only had 70 RBIs on this year. He didn't get anywhere near 100. He's garbage. And his batting percentage is
I don't
way
even
down.
know
Yeah,
sports because I'm like
exactly.
totally throwing out crap.
So, yes, in a perfect world, somewhere in between. But if I had to pick between the two, yes, somebody who hated sports, because if she was a well-adjusted enough woman who liked and loved me enough, she would partake in the sports with me and not sit there and naysay it and nitpick and nag the whole time.
Yeah, that would be annoying. So the internet says 92% would prefer them to love sports.
Huh.
That's interesting.
I like sports.
What
it's
if
just
they
they're not
invaded?
my life.
What if they invaded that though? What if you love sports, but
Exactly.
they invaded that one thing that you love?
They consider themselves a bigger super fan than you are.
Yeah.
Oh, you thought you were a Lakers
like with
fan, but look out, buddy.
You're with your
Purple
friends.
and gold is my jam.
You're with your guy friends. You're doing your guy time, and it's like,
hey guys,
what's that, you guys? What's going on? You're like, hey, get out of here. This is our time.
Pops in just to correct you. No, actually, that wasn't, because when Satchel Paige was still alive, he was actually striking out batters before you even knew what a baseball bat was.
I know. You're like, okay, chill. Just chill.
Yeah. All right, calm down, honey. Go back under the table.
Where did she come from?
Yeah. What are you even doing here?
Why are you here?
I mean, I love it that you're stalking me, but quit stalking me.
This is an interesting question because it actually brings up the question, because this brings up a question that a lot of people think, because there's actually a big misnomer. A lot of people think that women make less money than men, but that's actually I am going to ruffle some feathers probably. It's actually a lie. Women don't make less money than men. In fact, women in the same industry,
when you look at all the statistics,
Yeah.
not the cherry-picked ones.
women actually make 8% more than men in the same industry. So if a woman is in the exact same industry as the exact same man working the exact same job, they make statistically 8%.
Doing the exact same job.
Yeah. But if you take just all women and all men, women make less, but that's because they choose different jobs than men. That's why
more than half
say
of them
they make
choose
less
to
money.
be a homemaker. More than whatever percentage actually choose jobs, or it's just like that's a hobby job. That's not a
Right.
career, and that's not something that you can gauge against somebody else who picked a career, went to all the schooling, did it for years,
Correct.
went through all the experience, moved up into a company, and got to that point. They're acting like, okay, that guy, that doesn't matter. This woman who went and got the job yesterday and isn't qualified should just make the same amount of money as him. Whoa!
But in the United States of America, it's actually physically illegal for a company to hire two people, man and woman, and to actually physically pay them less for the exact same job.
And I
So
love
it does
the
not
reasoning
happen.
behind this too, because somebody was like, okay, well, given that logic, if companies are so evil and corrupt like they are, why is there not so many multinational conglomerate companies hiring nothing but women because it's cheaper?
So, with that said, though, because actually Amazon was afraid of that, and they were like,
Yeah.
"Oh crap, we don't want to be like sued out the wazoo. These women are getting paid less." So they hired
Amazon's been afraid of a lot lately.
Yeah, so they hired a bunch of people to look into it, and after a multi-year ordeal, they actually found out that they were underpaying all of their men by a lot, and they were then afraid of getting sued by all the men, so they ended up having to raise the pay of all the men because they were actually underpaying all the guys on their thing. But so the question is, does
Back to the point.
Yeah, does it bother you if a girl you're dating makes more money than you?
Not in the slightest.
Not in the slightest. You would love it, right?
Not even from the hustling, I'm just a dredge on society standpoint. Not at all, because obviously I like equality. I like having I like having things to be in a proper balance in a relationship, and obviously if one's one way, it should have a counterbalance the other way, or hopefully work out a counterbalance in the other way. So no, because I've even had this conversation with some friends before. Somebody that I was talking to that is considerably taller than me, and they're like, oh, but she's like at least 3 inches taller than you, and I'm like, I guess that wasn't even on my list of things to consider. Like, it doesn't even register in my mind. I'm not emasculated by that. That's not weird to me at all that she's considerably taller than me. And mostly when she's wearing heels or wedges or whatever. But even then, I'm like...
Would it bother you if she was like, hi, I'm here for you?
It wouldn't bother me because guess what? With a creepy man voice like that, it wouldn't... It's a non-issue. I mean... It's like, oh yeah, well, you're so superficial and horrible. It's like, well, guess what? I wouldn't get into a relationship with that person in the first place to have to worry about being a douchebag like that. So,
TB12 is good. Thank you for the donation.
Woo!
He says, SureShot is secretly in love with me. Thank you for the donation.
There's no secret behind that. No.
And Finity, what's up, Finity? Finity says, SureShot seems to be getting way into this role play. So that's hilarious.
What role play? I mean, I don't really feel like I'm Bosk right now, but I mean, in some ways when I'm playing the game, you got to get into character, right? So, I mean, Transdotion Rage!
So, there are some women choose to do different jobs, and some women choose to do different jobs. I mean, some women make more, some women make less. It's to each his own,
I didn't see
right?
the official, white guy with the patriarchy name tag walk up and say, "You're not allowed to have that job. You're allowed to have this job, and you're not allowed to make as much money as him."
So,
never seen that in my life.
So, does it bother you that a woman makes more money than you? You said no.
No.
The poll the internet official answer is 90% of men that were asked this question said no, not at all. They would love it if the woman made more. In fact, my wife and I talked about this, and I said, if you could make...
Did a stereotype just... Or not a stereotype.
I know.
This is just whole narrative just crumble?
In 2008, when it was really bad economy, I actually lost my job. I got laid off. I actually worked for Sprint, which is the cell phone company, corporate. I worked for Sprint corporate. I was an account manager. I had just recently been hired by Sprint direct. I had 28 stores on the western slope of Colorado. So I was like an account manager. I drove all over the state of Colorado. I had 28 stores. They had just recently hired me, and then in 2007. And so I was going all over the state of Colorado with like 28 stores. And then in February of 2008, I got a letter, and they said, because of the economy, we're laying off everybody who's been hired in the last 2 years. Congratulations, you're one of them.
Yeah. You fell just behind the line. Sorry.
Yeah, you were just hired in 2007, and so we're laying you off. I had just bought a brand new car because I was driving everywhere.
That's always great timing,
right?
Isn't it?
Because I had, I'm driving everywhere. I'm literally a regional manager. I'm driving everywhere, and they were like, "We're going to give you $500 a month for vehicle expenses." So I'm like, well, I can afford a brand new car with that. I mean, that'll pay for my payment plus my insurance.
Awesome.
All of that.
Thanks for backing me into that corner,
So
company.
so I bought a brand new vehicle, literally off the showroom floor. First time in my life I'd ever bought a brand new car off a showroom floor. So I bought a brand new car off of a showroom floor. Bad decision, by the way. Don't ever do that. You'll like lose $4,000 right off the showroom floor. You're like, hey, 22 grand, 18 grand.
Cross the threshold.
4 seconds later, it's worth 18 grand.
Yep.
So stupid. But anyway, so I get home, and like less than 6 months later, I get this letter in the mail, and they're like, sorry, here's a severance package. It was very small. I got a very small, because the severance package was
we're
like,
all a bunch of jerks.
severance package was based off of tenureship, like how long you've been with the company, and they had just hired me, so they were like, yeah,
oh great,
yeah. And then they're like, you know what Cobra is, right?
Yeah,
it's like
Cobra insurance.
It's like insurance that you got to pay for to keep.
You get to basically keep the same insurance you had before, but now your premium just like tripled.
It's like $1,200 a month if you want to have really crappy health insurance, which is like what?
Because you aren't working under this guy who's not going to pay into it the same way he did before, and now we're throwing all that in your bag.
So it was terrible. But anyway, so I got laid off. So anyway, that was right before I became a cop. I decided this is the time I'm going to become a law enforcement officer, like now or never. So I started studying to become a law enforcement officer. I was a stay-at-home dad at this time, and for 8 months, I did nothing but study for law enforcement, and then I ended up going into the police academy that fall to become a law enforcement officer and go become a cop. Well, I spent 8 months of my life that time being a stay-at-home dad, and I did with my kids. I did their some of their homeschooling. I cleaned house every day. I did all the laundry, the cooking, the cleaning, and my wife had to step up and she took a manager role. She went from part-time to full-time, took a managerial role, and she loved it. She loved it. She's like, you take care of everything at the house, and I'll just go full time. And I was like, this is awesome. So
this is a great change up of the status quo for a while,
dude. Yeah, and so her and I actually switched roles, and for 8 months, it was like the greatest thing ever. She'll even tell you that. Her and I both agreed it was like the greatest time we ever had in our life. In fact, if she could maintain that, the company she worked for actually went out of business, so she lost that job. which stinks because, and then I ended up becoming a law enforcement officer. So we switched roles again, and I went back to being the primary provider. But if we could ever switch back to where she was the primary provider and I was the stay-at-home, I would totally do that because I was really, really good as a stay-at-home, and she was really good as a provider. We enjoyed those 8 months of our life. I loved it. I actually was really, really good at taking care of the house and doing all of that. I really did love it. But that was an 8 months short glory time of my life. Super fun. And like I said,
it's interesting. I don't see you melting into the floor as an emasculated pile of man that used to be because of that situation. Things seem to be normal and healthy and still a good balance. So,
yeah, no,
how that works out.
It was good times. She enjoyed it. She loved going to work and then coming home and seeing a clean house and having a good time. And I enjoyed it. I didn't have any problems with it. I got to work out 2-a-days. I used to work out in the morning by myself, working out with heavy weights and stuff. And then in the
in an inadvertent way, she was encouraging.
Yeah, and then in the evenings, her and I did a workout together, which was more cardio based. And then I was doing with the youngins, I was teaching them how to swim in the spring and summer.
Oh, nice.
At her workout because at her work was a athletic club, and so I was actually going and teaching them how to. Wow, this is going south quickly. Whoops. Alrighty then.
I'm amazed I made it to the actual fourth.
But it was fun. That was a good time. It was a really good time. All right, let's see. When you were pretending to be the girl that knew too much about sports. That's hilarious, Benedy. Frank Brown. Hey, I thought I might have missed the stream. Glad it was still going on. What's up? Jose, what are Warrior and SureShot's bachelors? If you guys don't mind sharing. What are Warriors and SureShot's bachelors? No, that's funny. Jose, no, he is. I'm not. Yeah. And then Frank Brown says, nice stash.
My bachelor's degree? Or are you talking? Oh, bachelor. Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, the stash is for, because we had a party last week for an 80s party. And then this next Saturday, we're doing an 80s party. And so I had to do a stash only for last week.
Didn't have to, but if you want to be appropriately era appropriate.
Yeah, and then we're gonna do a stash for the party next week. So kind of funny there as well.
I'm in between right now. I could be stereotypical, go to a party guy, like typical single white male back in the '80s, or with the beard. What I got going on, I was kind of thinking about being Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top. So I can't decide which way I want to go there. They had a lot of cowboy hats and bowler hats and that back in that era. So.
All right, this is the last one I've got for you. Frank Brown says, keep my mustache and push it for that Magnum PI vibe.
And push it real good.
Okay, so the last question from Poll the Internet, for Ask the Internet, but it's Poll the Internet, is if you were dating a 10, but at night she turned into Fiona from Shrek, like the monster, a hideous creature like Fiona from Shrek, would you still date her? So she was gorgeous during the day, but at night she turned into Fiona from Shrek.
One thing they never broach in these questions is, well, what about her personality? Do we get along really well? Am I in love with her?
Let's just assume she's a 10 personality-wise, relationally, spiritually, every way, but at night she turns into an absolute hideous creature at nighttime.
Hard yes.
And why? Tell me more.
Because I think if it was all that together with everything that I've ever wanted and being a 10 during the light of day when we're seen in public, no, I'm just kidding. But when she's a 10 during the day and everything's normal and that at night, I mean, I guess when it comes right down to it, when you got that to look forward to in the morning, then I can put up with a Fiona at night. But no.
Put her into a closet.
Yeah, exactly.
You lock her away.
Go to your dungeon. No, I think that if it was all that and a bag of chips with that little thing to have to put up with, then that's easy. I mean, heck, when it comes right down to it, you can even make the really bad joke of just like, well, you can always turn the lights out, So, yeah, I think that's a pretty...
brown bagging?
Yeah, brown... It's time for the pleasure bag, honey. No,
it's so superficial. That's so horrible.
Terrible. I know. I have to joke about it because it is funny. I'm so not that superficial that when I say it, it's always in jest and it's always sarcastic.
But it's your whole body that turns into an ugly creature.
Exactly. But I'm just saying when you have all of everything banging on all cylinders, when you have the perfect 10 for everything else, Any relationship, any perfect 10, basic 5, I'll settle for a 1, you're going to have hardships. You're going to have something you have to put up with. You're going to have something you don't love about the person,
Get
that you
into
don't
the
like
box.
about the person.
It's 10 o'clock at night,
so
honey. Get into the box.
That's an easy yes when you have that much amazing, yes, good, wonderful stuff. That's an easy one to get over, in my opinion.
Tommy says all you have to do is figure out how to break the spell. You'd be fine.
Exactly. And I mean, I'm Prince Charming anyway, so all I got to do is kiss her, right?
That would be hilarious. You kiss her, she just bites you.
Yeah, right?
Ah! She like chews on your face.
You just turn into something more hideous. Okay, so I just need to avoid you all night, and then we can go back to being together in the morning.
57% of the internet said they would actually go ahead and definitely date her. I think they're probably thinking superficial.
I don't like that I'm answering along with the majority in this because I feel like in a lot of ways my thought process is not the majority, not the superficial, but yet it gives me more faith in humanity that we're actually bringing it back around. So I guess it's kind of a double-edged sword there.
Yep.
But no, I could definitely put up with Fiona as at night if she turns into my perfect 10 in the morning.
Yeah, that would be terrible. So. Well, it's we've been in for an hour and 15 minutes, and we want to do story time. Side note: if you guys are just now joining and you want story time, that's what we're about to jump into. So we're going to expand the screen, and we're going to go into story time. So flipping the hat back, but but we did another story time earlier, right? Whoa, that's way too big. Go down.
I let go of it too soon.
Oh no!
Bring it back.
That's not good. You gotta let me help you with that. You're going to here. Stop it. Oh no! No!
Wait, no!
You're ruining everything.
I'm gonna get this.
Nope. You screwed everything up. Nope. He doesn't.
I drug it up just past the window.
Oh no! This is not good.
Try double clicking it. Sometimes that just resizes it and brings it back to where it should be. No.
Nope. All right, hold on.
Resize.
Let's see. Transform. Fit to screen.
Aha!
All right.
You should have just told me to use that one.
And then kapooey. There we go. Okay. All right. So I know you're like dragging stuff. Like, yeah. Fixed. All right. So we did a story earlier, you guys. Yeah. 6 minutes later.
Mm-hmm.
We did a story earlier, so if you missed that story, we secretly implanted a really funny story about my nickname when I was a child in the middle of the live stream. So if you missed that funny story about Billy and getting in trouble in kindergarten, and you want to hear that story, you're going to have to find that Easter egg.
Go back and wait
the
for
live stream.
Oh,
Billy. Billy. Oh, Billy. You're going to have to go find that.
Mm-hmm.
But this one's a little more feel good. This is more philanthropic, because we wanted to end the story kind of on a high note. I have a story and then you kind of have an add-on to the story. So a lot of people, if you've been watching for years, you hear lots of different stories. And one of the stories we had, coming out of it was October is when I mentioned it, but then it happened in December. So in October, I had like a kind of a big paycheck, and I went and I bought out an entire theater for the movie The Star Wars, The Last Jedi, or whatever. Was it The Last Jedi? Was that what they called it? Whatever.
No, that was Rise of Skywalker.
Or Rise of Skywalker. Whatever the heck the last one was called. I don't even know what it was called. The last.
Michael, we definitely went to Last Jedi, but I don't think you bought it out. I think it was the Rise of Skywalker you bought it out.
The Rise of Skywalker. Whatever the heck it was called. The very last one that was in December.
By the way.
Yeah. The one that we had. So anyway, I bought out the theater and we went to that. And I had a bunch of different families that came with their kids and everything. It was really fun. It was actually super fun. But that was in December. This just literally 2 months ago. And so we had a bunch of families show up and stuff. And it was just a good time. It was really, really fun. And it's something I actually think I want to do yearly. I think it would be fun to buy an entire theater out every year and have all my friends and family just come, because it's just
covers all your Christmas gifts in one swath, but also gets everybody together to hang out during the holidays. So that's a win-win.
It really was a win-win. It wasn't as expensive as I thought it was going to be. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
Right.
And honestly, it was super fun.
Hold on a second here, guys. Is there a discount rate for buying in bulk?
Yeah, exactly. But it was super fun. It was a really great time. Again, if I could have all my patrons come down and do this with me, it would be super awesome. I would totally have a patron only showing. I think that would be super fun. Unfortunately, that's kind of hard to get everybody to spend thousands to fly down and do that. You know what I mean?
I'll buy your movie ticket.
Yeah, it's kind of like, man, that stinks. So, but we got together and we watched the movie. That in and of itself was a really, really good time. But after the movie. The story comes after the movie. But so let me take a step back. Over the last 18 years, I have a jacket. It's a leather jacket that my wife had bought me, and I've had it for 18 years. Literally, like at the very beginning of our relationship, she bought it. It was like one of the first things she ever bought for me, and it has these little pockets, and I always wearing it. And it's the pockets have worn out, so like everything falls through it. In fact, I was at a I was traveling and I had my leather jacket on and I had bought some brand new ear, muffs or whatever you call them, ear buds. Oh my gosh,
buds.
earbuds. And I was in
Might as well call them
I was in the
earplugs, but
Houston
yeah.
airport, and I had like put the brand new earbuds in my pocket, forgetting that I had holes in my pocket, and they like fell out. And then like half hour later, I realized the $40 earbuds were gone. I was like, oh, this stinks.
Well, at least it didn't happen on a plane and somebody
Yeah.
yelled bomb and then things got crazy. So
So that
bright side.
that kind of stunk, but but the jacket's like got a lot of sentimental value, and it's a really great jacket, and I love leather jackets. They last forever, literally 18 years. So I love it, but the pockets are trashed, and I've been talking about getting a new jacket for a really long time. And of course, friends that are really close to me know my jacket, and they jokingly, talk about the holes in the bottom of the jacket because I can like put my hands through the bottom of the jacket, and
Your keys are showing.
yeah, and I can't even put my stuff in my pocket because they fall through. And a friend of mine, Robbie, was there, and actually the '80s party that we went to,
Yes.
just Saturday was why I got this silly stash. Was Robbie's birthday party that we went to? This '80s party that we went to was Robbie's birthday party.
Throwback party.
Yeah, and so he was one of the families that I had at this Christmas like get together for this movie. I invited his whole family to go and enjoy this movie. But he just he's around me a lot, and he's like, you got to get yourself a new jacket, man. Like
he's around. He's
the
observing.
jacket's nice, but man, you've got like holes in the pocket and stuff. And what's funny, kind of the irony, is I have 4 friends. All of us are white dudes, and all 4 of us, me, Michael, Robbie, and Scott, are all 4 white guys, but all 4 of us have Asian wives, and all 4 of us have leather jackets. So we jokingly, one night we were all hanging out. We're like, hey, we're like in the Asian leather jacket wife club. It's
you
like
were all part of a club you didn't know about.
It was like a silly, stupid joke, but anyway, like the Asian leather jacket wives club or whatever. It was a stupid like joke at the time, but we all wearing leather jackets. It was like stupid, like white guys with leather jackets with like Asian wives. It's so stupid. But anyway, so this night we're like hanging out. I'm wearing like the jacket's just so bad at this point. It's got so many holes. I'm just like, I'm not even going to wear my jacket tonight because there's just so many holes in my leather jacket. I just got to, get rid of it. So I didn't wear it. We went to the movie, and we go into the movie theater. We watch the movie. It was super fun. Robbie and his family sit directly behind me. We watched the movie. Super awesome. We had a really, really, really great time. And then after the movie, we go outside, and Robbie's like, hey, buddy, come here really quick or whatever. So I follow him really quick to his car, and he walks over there, and he's like, hey, I got a little thing for your wife. So we had like a little gift bag for Christmas because it's Christmas time, right? I mean, we'd just done the whole movie thing for his family. And so he's like, here's a little gift bag for Connie, my wife. So here's a gift bag for her. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. That's so cool. I'll make sure to give that to her. So I grabbed it and I went to turn around. He's like, hold on. And like grabbed me, like turn around.
There's more.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, what? And I turn around, and he literally takes his jacket off his back. His literal leather jacket. That's a leather jacket he's worn maybe 8 times. He doesn't wear his leather jacket hardly at all. He takes his leather jacket off of his back, literally off his back, and he hands it to me and says, I know what your jacket's like, and I know why you're not wearing it. It's really bad, and I want you to have my leather jacket. So it's like, tear, and so he literally, like my friend Robbie, literally gives me the jacket off his back. And so the story to this is there's a couple of layers to this onion, right? The first is that like that's like true friendship, right? I mean, giving the jacket off of your back to somebody, that's huge. Now, the second layer to this is like, do I actually like need his jacket? No, right? I don't need his jacket because I mean I could go and like buy a jacket. I could go, I mean I have physically the money. I could go physically buy a jacket. I mean gifts are gifts, right?
Drop plenty of hints. Wait till your next birthday. Different
I
things.
mean, I have money. Like gifts are gifts. They're gifts for a reason. They're a joy to be given. They're a joy to see what people do. How they respond. Like you don't give gifts because the other person can't give the gift for themselves. Like that's not the point of a gift. The point of the gift is the joy of giving and stuff. So he gave his jacket in that moment because he knew that was a need that I had that I wasn't fulfilling obviously for myself. I just kept not taking care of that need. And so he literally gave me the jacket off of his back in that moment. And it really meant a lot. Now, the kind of moral of this story that I kind of wanted to bring forth is in that moment, I'm kind of a prideful person and I try not to be. I really do. I try to like know about my pride so I can keep it in check. Right? Because if you don't know about your pride, you just become prideful.
Mm-hmm.
But if you know about your pride, you can kind of keep it in front of you and kind of keep it subdued.
Still be prideful, but keep it in check.
But if you keep it in front of you, you can kind of subdue it and kind of be aware of it and subdue it because it's not a healthy thing. You got to kind of keep it in check, right? So when he's handing it to me and stuff, the first thing is like, no, dude, that's your jacket. Don't, I don't need it. I don't want it. Like you have it. I can go buy my own. Like I can afford it, whatever. There's that prideful nature of you that wants to be like, I'm not going to take your jacket from you. Like you keep your jacket. I'm not going to take it from you. But what if I would have done that? Had I not taken his jacket, I would have robbed Robbie of the opportunity to bless me. That, you see, is his opportunity in that moment that he felt called to do this for me. And in that moment, he was trying, in a selfless nature, to do something selfless for me. And had I not accepted that gift, I would have robbed him of that very opportunity that he was trying to do for me. It would have crushed him. It would have crushed him emotionally. It would have crushed him relationally. Like it would have robbed him of that opportunity oh, look, there's my dog.
Say hi, Ringo.
Ringo, get out of here. He's such a cute dog. And so
Like it's mood for love.
I know, right? Get out of here, Ringo. Go.
Go lay down.
Go lay down. Go lay down, Ringo. So the kind of the moral of that story, the point of that story is when people are trying to do things for you, whether you feel like you deserve it or not, or you want it or not, or whatever, like don't rob people of the opportunity to be a blessing to you because this is their opportunity to do what it is they're trying to do for you. And I know a lot of people are like, no, don't do that for me. Don't do that for me because it makes you uncomfortable. And it puts you in this awkward position where you're like, I don't know, what I'm supposed to do or whatever. Don't do it. Especially guys,
Oh, especially guys.
Especially guys. We're like, oh, no, I'm cool. It might even be just something as simple as like maybe paying for your meal or something like that. And you're like, no, I got it.
I pay my own way. I got my own stuff.
Yeah.
You don't need to hop in here for that.
But when you do that, you rob the other person of the opportunity to be a blessing to you. And it doesn't give you then the opportunity to reciprocate. Because if you rob them of that, then you don't now have the opportunity to do that to them. And if you rob them of that, but then continue to do that to them, then it makes it even worse because now they're allowing you to be a blessing to them, but you're not allowing them to be a blessing to you. So it actually compounds things even worse. So anyway,
it's a little bit of a pay it forward type of situation too, because that's going to obviously encourage you to be that to somebody else because you know that kind of feeling that it gave you. So you're eventually going to find somebody's need and you're going to want to fill that too, especially with could be the shirt off your back or whatever, but in some way that you go, oh, I saw that, I'm going to do something about it.
And you had kind of a similar sort of story.
Yeah. At a different point in my life, I've always been very financially stable. I've always taken care of myself well. I've always had my bills taken care of, my affairs in order, that kind of thing. And anybody has situations in life that can come out of nowhere. I had 2 different unemployment situations, both times being fired illegally, and probably should have gone and fought them for it, but why would you want to fight to stay at a company that doesn't want you there and wants to do illegal activity and all that? So it was one of those situations where you kind of go, no, I'm just going to take that one on the chin and go and find a better job somewhere else. Right. So in that interim, I was in a situation where I had trimmed down as much as I could. I was still keeping my house. I was still keeping everything paid up for and that. But I was coming to a point where no matter how I looked at it, no matter what I sold, I was going to be short like $1,000. And it was funny how it was like literally exactly that amount of money. And through the grapevine, it may have gotten around either through my sister or something like that, but a family friend had kind of popped out of the woodwork, seeing the situation and kind of reading it for what it was, and without even saying anything, just hands me a check for $1,000. And I'm like, obviously I can't accept this. This is ridiculous. I know your financial situation. You can't afford this. And I not to to be rude or anything like that, but it's like, no. I'll figure it out. It's not that big of a deal. And they were adamant, just like, no. I not only do I want to give this to you, but it is absolutely a gift, and don't think of it as a loan. You don't owe me anything, don't pay it back, nothing. I actually came into a situation where their father passed away recently. Somebody they didn't know was not in their life at all whatsoever, but had eventually tracked them down to say, "Hey, I'm your dad, and here's what's happening, and I'm sorry, and this, all this." So the settlement was there, the money was there for them, and they ended up wanting to bless me with it. And it was like, "No, I can afford this right now. I've already taken care of all of my needs. Now I want to do this for you." So fast forward about, I think it had to been like 7 years, something like that, in the future. Unfortunately, this person's no longer a family friend through a lot of unfortunate, sad, and ridiculous situations. Don't not in contact
Stuff
anymore.
happens.
But before all that happened, I was in a situation where I'd moved out to Colorado. I'd gotten all my affairs in order. I was sitting good financially, and I was like, okay, I just bought a new truck. I don't need my car anymore, so I'm going to sell it. Well, right around this time, come to find out, this friend had a problem with their Buick LeSabre, and it was a decent looking car and good running car, but the transmission was about to crater, and it needed about $1,400 worth of work, which is more than, of course, the vehicle was worth at the time. So they were freaking out about it. They were not in the same financial situation, couldn't afford it, worried about how they're going to get to work and all that. And I was just like, light bulb, duh. I mean, not so much that you need to pay everybody back for their kindness, but this was a perfect opportunity for me to come back around and go,
Pay
hey,
it forward.
you showed me love back then, and I'm in a perfect situation right now where this car is just totally, it's yours now. It's not even me and have to think about it. It's just like, oh, duh, yeah, well, I wasn't even thinking about selling it. Oh, by the way, here's the title, here's the keys, this is what's wrong with it. It's got a lot of, little quirks, whatever, but it's a great vehicle that took me back and forth from Illinois to Colorado numerous times, was reliable, and just to see the waterworks on them was just like, oh, okay, that made an impact, because they were never expecting me in a million years to pay them back for that $1,000. But it was a perfect scenario where it came back around to go, oh, hey, you didn't even need to ask about this. I just see what the problem is here, and I know that I can help it and fix it. So there, I don't even have to think about it.
Right. So that's kind of the moral of the story: is you always have an opportunity to kind of pay it forward or pay it back potentially, but don't rob people of that opportunity to be a blessing to you. Accept those, be humble,
Oh, yeah.
and accept those opportunities to be blessed by those individuals.
Oh, I took that money and I paid off all my bills, and I got back to him saying, hey, this is what you helped me pay off. This is what I'm taking care of. This is how I can breathe easier now and feel like, okay, good. And of course, right after I got all that paid off, within a month, I was employed again gainfully, and I was back to getting my bills all taken care of, and I didn't even have to skip a beat, didn't have to go into debt for any of that, and it was just the perfect scenario for it. Same thing with them. They got that vehicle right at the time that they're about ready to go get a credit card to be able to pay off and fix this car that they didn't want to, keep on kicking that dead horse with. So great way to not only pay it forward, but also to be a blessing to somebody by accepting their blessing.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate everybody coming on today and hanging out with us. Thanks for playing a little bit in the background with that. Thanks for letting me read some of those cards, even though they were all kind of corny, relationally corny.
I see what you're doing there. I get it. But, hey.
It was good times. So anyway, yeah, this was it was fun.
It was a good time. Yeah, appreciate being able to come on here. So this was SureShot.
And this is Warrior. Make sure you guys keep your gaming on. Warrior out.